Still getting things straight here. Oh, I can leave that off, actually. Okay. There we are. Nice, beautiful camera right in my face. Wonderful. Not that you want to see my face or not. I know you don't. Okay. It's a semi-beautiful workstation. A semi-beautiful. How's everybody doing this afternoon? I hope everybody's doing good. Having a little bit of a late start today. I had to run an errand. Got that taken care of, and just finished my lunch. That's why I had this little startup time. But I do want to make an announcement right up front that everything looks good. Yeah, audio looks good. It looks loud, actually. Okay, I probably could adjust that a little bit down. There we go. Little bit of an announcement. I'm changing the name of this show. The show is currently called Wargaming Wednesday because my initial plan was to have this show every Wednesday. But going forward, I realized that there are some days that are better. Some weeks, a different day is better for me. So, like this week, Monday would have been well, actually going forward over the next few weeks, Mondays will be a better day for me. But I've been forcing myself to get online on a Wednesday, which is when a lot of things happen here at my store. I get a lot of shipments on Wednesday. I have to do a lot of inventory. I also have to go out. I don't have to go out. I need to go out certain places, or it just basically winds up being that Wednesday right now is not a good day for me. A couple of and it's not because of any of that, because I can work with any of that. The main thing that is causing me to consider switching days is my household. Okay, we have I have people that live here with me, my family, right? And they sometimes will be making noise in the kitchen, or they'll have the TV going, which you can't hear, but I can. It's like around the corner, and it's distracting. And then having a naked body walk through here, and then maybe YouTube catches a glimpse of that and then bans my channel. That's never happened. But people walking by, people stopping. I'm talking about people. When I say people, I mean my family. Stopping, asking me questions, or wanting me to do something for them, which I don't mind doing, whatever. But like maybe they need me to take out the trash, or maybe they want me to go beat up the neighbor. I don't know. So if whatever they do, they come and ask me to do something, it interrupts the flow of the show. It's very unprofessional, is what I'm trying to get at. I feel like it's unprofessional. I feel like, but some people think that's funny, Some people enjoy seeing the real me. Okay, I get that. That's why you would tune in. You get to see the real me. But even though that is the real me, I don't want to share my life with everyone. I don't want to do that. I don't want you to have to deal with my life too. You got your own life to worry about, right? So my wife is a teacher. Okay, she teaches at a local community college. Okay, she teaches like history and English and literature and stuff like that. And last semester, she taught on Wednesdays. That was the day that she went in. I found that to be very peaceful here in the house. The house was completely empty. Nobody was here. I could interact with you guys on a one-to-one basis on Wednesday. Then, when her schedule changed, and then she goes in on other days, and she's home on Wednesday, I found that it became very distracting for me for the show. So, but now I think Monday might be a good day to change the show to. But then I thought to myself, what about next semester? Maybe she moves back to Wednesdays, or maybe she has a Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever she does. So I need to keep the show's schedule flexible. So what I'm going to do, I'm making a change to the name of the show. I'm going to call it Wargaming Weekly. Wargaming Weekly. It's still literary, or whatever they call that, where they both W's, but Wargaming Weekly also doesn't lock me into a specific day of the week. So if for some reason I can't do something on a Monday, I can still do it on a Wednesday. I just have to, and I didn't do that this week because of the late start. Like at least a day or two before the show. I've been doing this off and on, like maybe 50% of the time. I'm going to have to really knuckle down and do this every week. I'm going to schedule the next show so that when you go to my channel and you'll see that I've got a live show scheduled for Monday at X time, or I've got a live show scheduled for Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. And so so each week, or like when this show is over, or maybe over the weekend or something, I will schedule my live shows, which I normally have a D&D live show on Thursday night. And I usually take Wednesday, the day before, to prep for that D&D game, and because I'm running the game. And because of the Wargaming Wednesday, I've basically been unable to prep as well as I want, and I rush through it on Thursday. Okay, so that's just another reason. That was my other reason why I wanted to switch it from Wednesday. So this coming Monday will be a show. We're going to have a show this coming Monday. Also, like if a holiday falls on a Monday or something, like 4th of July or something like that, that's another reason why you might want to tune in, because I am going to have the weekly show. It'll just be on a different day. All right, guys. So we got that out of the way. Perfect. You can see on my table here. Also, you can see like Monster Juice right there. Yeah, I don't have this zoomed in. Ooh, I got this like right in the way. Yeah, let's really make this bad. Okay. That's really all. That's good right there. Okay, I'm working on my Napoleonics. We're going to talk a little bit about Napoleonics every episode. Every episode is usually going to be focused on... looks like I'm peaking. You guys tell me if my audio is peaking. I'm lowering my audio just a little bit more. But... because I am working on Napoleonic figures every week. So that gives me an opportunity to show off the figures I'm working on every week. But it also kind of keeps you up to date with my updates. Even though tonight I am going to film an update specifically for the my Napoleonic project. My What's in the Box videos are doing well, and I appreciate all you guys that tune into my What's in the Box videos. I've changed it to What's in the Box /bag because I've noticed that I do a lot of bag reviews as well. You know, like Victrix or Plastic Soldier or Old Glory. They a lot of times will come in a bag. I just got some front rank figures in again from Gripping Beast. They came in a bag, so I'm gonna review. Oh yeah, my West Wind Berlin or Bust. Those figures come in a bag. They also come in a box. Actually, I got a box and a bag over there of some figures, but that's the whole point. Not everything comes in a box. Sometimes it's a blister, right? But I consider that a box. But you got box, blister, bag, triple B, right? Okay. These are Old Glory Nassau troops. I did a What's in the Bag for these guys. So if you're curious to know what these models look like, check that out. I don't know if I've uploaded it yet, actually, but I filmed it. If it's online, check it out. I did a close-up of all these figures when they were primed white, so you get to see all the details and stuff. Actually, I think you can see the details a lot better once it's painted fully, but I didn't want to do that. This is not. I got 4 bags of Nassau, thinking that I'm going to do the 1st Regiment, the 2nd Regiment of Usigen, and the 28th Regiment, which is Nassau Orange, and the Jaegers. I plan to do all of that. The 4 bags that I got, I don't think I can do the 1st Regiment. So what I'm doing is all of the Usigen Nassau, but I'm also got enough figures to do the the 28th Orange. I needed the 28th Orange and the 2nd Usigen for Quatre Bras. So the 1st Regiment of Usigen I don't need yet. That can wait for a while because they participated in defending Papala Lahaye, not Lahaye Saint. They Papalot. So it's a farm on the French right flank, and that's where those Nassau are. But eventually, once I get enough figures that I want to do the entire Battle of Waterloo, I'm going to have to do that. But for Quatre Bras, I didn't need it. So I'm doing the Usigens here, and then I have another group of orange still in the bags. And that was only 4 bags. I think with one more bag, I could probably do the other regiment. Okay. So, because they come with about 48 models. It says 50, but I think that's a lazy measurement because I think they meticulously pack 48 in every bag. So the website should just say 48 models. That's my opinion. Even though some bags had like 49. But even so, 48 is not, and 49 is still not 50. It says it comes with 3 command per bag, and that's really not true either. It comes with 4 standard bearers, which you can make into 4 battalions, or you could make into 2 battalions with 2 flags, but I'm not doing a 2-flag Nassau battalion. That's not the way it was done. Okay, but either way, I'm still working on these guys. These are the colors that I've got left to do on these guys. So I'm gonna kind of set these off to the side and get these out of the way so that you can see everything else that we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, let me get a board to move these. I'll be right back. And just looking at the popsicle stick, you can see that I sprayed them with a hunter green. Usigan, Nassau, and Brunswick are some of the easiest guys to paint. Brunswick, I just spray them with a really dark gray, like a German Panzer gray, and go from there. And then the Usigans, I just paint with a hunter green, and then go from there. I've got so many things over here that I want to show you. I'm just going to grab a couple of things because I'm going to do I don't know if you can hear me from this distance, but I'm going to do a project update video tonight after hours. So you'll get to see it tomorrow. But we'll take a close look at these guys. During the update. I don't know if you guys recognize these guys. You probably, at this distance, you might not be able to. But these are my Highlanders. I did all 3 battalions of the Highlanders. Okay, I do want to show this. I want to show this. This, because it's not finished, but I do want to show it. This guy. Maybe this guy. This guy too. This will be fine. This is about half of them. So we'll show again. I'll show the rest of them later tonight. I've decided to go with a 3x3. This might not be 3x3. Let me double check. Let me check my own work. I think they're 3x3. Maybe they're 4x4. Yeah, okay, they're 4x4s. I decided to go with 4x4 on my basis. See, I don't even know my own rules. I'm still working on them. That's another thing. I think I found a name for my rule set. I think I'm going to call them Fusilier. Okay, I thought about a double name, you know, like Black Powder or Soldiers of Napoleon or Napoleon's Battles or Pike and Shot or something like that, right? I thought about taking a name that's 2 words, but that goes against everything that I'm trying to do with these rules. I'm trying to shorten everything down, streamline it, speed it up, get the game to go faster. I don't need to make the game name super large, right? Plus, I want it to be something easy to remember and identifiable. And I think Fusilier will work. I considered Musketeer, but I think that brings on a different emotion or a different mental picture when you say musketeer. To me, anyway, I think of the Three Musketeers. You know, I don't think of Napoleonic musketeers when you say musketeer. But Fusilier, I almost always think German Bundeswehr, or I think Napoleonic period, or even American War of Independence, which is good because this rule set should work for both. Okay, so for those of you that do not know, I've been struggling with deciding what size buildings that I wanted to do. Not the buildings themselves. I pretty much knew that I wanted to go with 10 millimeter buildings. These buildings are 10 millimeter scale. They're not 15 millimeter, right? This building is neither. I do believe it is an N scale train building. It needs a little dull coat because I can see it's a little shiny. But yeah, it's like a what do you call it? Like a winter lodge or whatever. And these are 10 mil paper and wood buildings. These are like think of them like the Sarissa buildings, but they're made by a different company. That's what these two are. And then these two are resin, also from a different company. Battlescape, I think, is these guys. I think these guys are Battlescape, and I think these guys are Battle Scale or something like that. I don't remember. It's very similar. I'd have to look it up to check. But here's another N scale church building. Now, this is the last one I did. It came on like a hill base, and I was wondering if I popped it off of that hill base, would it still be good? And it was. I popped it off because this building and this building I bought when I was in Berlin. I used to live in Berlin, Germany, and there was a little model railroad store in I want to say Stieglitz, but it's probably not that. I'm getting my memory is so bad because that was in 91, 92. So hell, that was 20, 30 years ago? Shoot, how long ago was that? If I did my math, 92, 2002, 2012, 2022. That was 30 years ago. Oh my Lord. I was in Berlin 30 years ago. Okay. Well, I bought these when I was there. They were already pre-made, pre-constructed, and they were only like 2 marks or something like that. This one was actually marked 2 marks. And I know because the prices are written on the bottom of them. And I would go in there because I was playing a lot of Napoleon's battles and this game called Command Decision. And I needed a ton of buildings for my gaming. And I went in there and I just picked up a bunch of HO buildings. I mean, I got 2 full Sterilite tubs out in the garage of buildings that I picked up in Berlin for like 5 or 4 marks. And these two, and I didn't have to construct them or build them or anything. I think that model railroad customers would commission them for sale, or maybe they sold them back to the store. I don't know. I didn't ask too many questions. I just went in and bought them. And I'm going to put them to good use because they work with 15mm Napoleonics. That's originally why I got them anyway. Command Decision probably. But I'm doing 10mm buildings mainly because I want my buildings to be a slightly smaller scale than the troops. And these work out really well. Okay, so here we go. We got some Cameron Highlanders standing in front of a building. Now, yes, this guy's, the top of his shako is the same height as the bottom of that second story window, but on the table, it won't take up a huge amount of space. Like that, right? That's a 15 millimeter American War of Independence chateau or mansion or whatever you want to call it. On a base like this, you can see that this takes up quite a bit of space. It would still, and then I would have to be able to put my figures on that base. I think I could do it. I think it can happen I think it could happen with a little bit of an arrangement and stuff like that. I probably could do it with 15 millimeter, but when you look at a big, large table, buildings of 10 millimeter are closer to the scale of the ground, less to scale with the troops. Because remember, this is not 4 guys. This is over 100. This is about 120 guys, approximately. So if that's 120 guys, approximately, that couldn't possibly be, just a couple of. That's like 100 yards across. So, yeah. So this building probably isn't, and if that guy's pretty close to the same width, which he is almost exactly, that building is not supposed to be 100 yards across. But instead of using like 6 millimeter buildings and putting like, I could have put 6 millimeter buildings on here, they would probably be almost exactly perfect scale, and then scattered a bunch of buildings on this stand to make it work. But that would look too disparaging. It would look too much different. So I wanted to be smaller, but not too small. And 10 mil actually came out to be a perfect scale. And N scale. N scale is 12-ish, maybe 10, 12-ish millimeters. So that works out really well as well. And these buildings are only a couple of dollars a piece, so that works great. And then you take a building like this and you deploy a battalion in there. Whoa, just throw the figures around. I can easily place 6 figures like that on the base easily, right? But that's not how I would want to deploy in a building. I would want there to be people on like all sides. You know what I mean? Or maybe even something like this. Now it looks like, you're able to face out in every direction. So I wanted to specifically do that with all my buildings. Now this one, I decided something a little different. I pushed it up against the edge of the board, mainly so that I could get my battalion in there. I was struggling with trying to figure out how I was going to get, and I also measured every one of these buildings for 8 stands, not just 6, because of a large battalion might be able to fit in there, right? Now I could always go through and say, that each stand has a maximum limit of how many figures it would fit or whatever. And, you know, and then I could throw a couple more stands in there to make 8. Okay. So again, I'm going to reiterate, tonight I'm going to film a video and then I'll upload it sometime tonight. And you'll probably be able to see it sometime tomorrow, where I'm going to show off all the buildings. I'm going to show off all the troops that I've finished so far, which might even be the Nassau. If I get kicking, I might actually get the Nassau a little bit closer to finishing. All my French. My limbers have changed. I rebased them on 60 millimeter. They were on 100 millimeter or 80 millimeter. They were basically just way too long. I shrunk them. Well, hold on. I think I shrunk them to 80 millimeter from 100. Yeah, there's my limber, and he is 80 millimeters. Okay. Okay. Having shown you all this, I got another set of rules in, right? Okay, let's just put that off to the side there. I got another set of rules in, and I kind of wanted to go over this just a little bit. I'm going to do a review of this set of rules, Soldiers of Napoleon. But there are some concepts in that rule set that I kind of want to share with you here in just a second. Let me pick all these up, and then I will be right back to talk about that. Today's video might be a little short, mainly because I want to get to work on my Nassau guys, get them knocked out for tonight or going forward or whatever. There. Now I should be able to carry these a lot easier. Alrighty. BRB. Oh shoot, I could just put them right here. Okay. And it sounds like my second half is home. I think I hear car doors opening and closing. She probably went grocery shopping. That's kind of what I'm guessing. Okay. Yep, there she is. Is there any more?
No.
All right. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this set of rules right here. I haven't thoroughly read through these rules 100% yet, okay? I just got these in a couple of days ago, and I deliberately went straight to combat and some concepts and basically formations and orders and unit stats and stuff. There's a lot in this little book. Now this rules was written by, okay, it doesn't show on there. That's good. He's humble. Okay, this says authored by Mr. Kinraid. Okay, it's very humble. Doesn't have like a whole I am the author section, and this is what I'm all about. Oh wait, here's the credits. Yeah, here we go. Game design, Warwick Kinraid. And then game development was Andy Fox. But still, it was Warwick Kinraid. Okay, and there's my battle group, one of my battle group rules. Credits written by Warwick Kinraid. Okay, so I knew it was going to be good, or at least I was hoping. Now it is a card-driven game, and when you buy the rules, you actually get a copy of the cards, leaving those out of the picture for now. Now, we're not going to go over this 100% completely, but it basically got my... And the reason why I got it was I love the battle group rules, and I was hoping that the Soldiers of Napoleon would basically be battle group for Napoleons, and it isn't. It's a little bit different, right? It's actually quite a bit different. But there are some concepts in this that I adore. So to give you a little light or a little heads up of some of my thought process was, I had this process where, you know what? Just to show you. Okay. So I personally wanted wide bases. I don't want deep bases. I know that a lot of games use bases that are like this big, or they even use bases that are split in half like that, like Napoleon's battles, right? And so this would still be 6 bases if it was split like that. And this game, Soldiers of Napoleon, assume that you base them that way. Exhibit A. So I because I'm basing it slightly different, I'm gonna have to go about it a slightly different way, and I wanted to go about it my way anyway, right? So my concept was to kind of use the idea that every battalion has a base value, and then you add to that based on how many stands you have, right? And that addition was going to be based on like how many files that you have in the front. So like it was going to start with 2 dice and then add 1 per file. So if I had a large battalion, it would be +4. If I had a medium battalion, it would be 5 total, right? 2 plus these 3, right? Okay. That was my idea. Start with 2 and then add 1 per file, which I could mount my figures on a base like that with 8 figures, and there would be a lot easier to count bases that way. But it's harder to change formation when you only have 3 bases. You know what I mean? So by breaking it down into 6 bases, I can do all kinds of different formations. Okay. I can do squares and all that stuff. There we go. Square. Okay. Now that was my initial plan. I've since now remember one of my, well, nothing's set in stone just yet, right? I'm still in the design process. I'm still in the experimentation, playtesting, trying to figure it out process. I thought to after reading these rules, or at least glancing through them, it helped me understand that I'm overcomplicating things. And remember what I said? I'm trying to speed the game up. I'm trying to make it rapid. I want the combat to go boom, 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 wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of thing. Not have to look it up in the table, not do math in my head to figure out how many dice I need to roll, and then no. I want it to be a lot easier. And it's easier to say, how many stands do you have? Roll that many dice. Right? I've got 6 stands, I roll 6 dice. How hard is that? That is super easy, right? That works out great. And there's something that would modify that. Remember, I was talking about modifying the number of dice. Now, as an alternative, let's talk about this. The defender was also going to roll dice, and his dice result was going to be the target number of the shooter, right? I've since moved away from that. And the reason why is that makes for more dice rolls. I'm not trying to increase the number of dice. Even if it's 2 different players and they're doing it at the same time, it's not always going to work that way. Players at the table are not going to do that. Players are going to have one guy roll, and then the other guy's going to roll to try to beat this guy's numbers, right? So basically, I just doubled the amount of time to roll for effect by making him roll the target number and him roll the to hit number. I just doubled the amount of time. I don't want to do that. It seems like a really cool concept. And I was going to modify those dice based on the situation of the target. Like if the target was in cover, he might get an extra die. Or if he's in a square, he might get 1 less die or something like that. I was going to have him roll and then take the best or the worst of those dice, right? To determine the target number that the shooter needs to shoot. No, I'm not going to do that. That is way too much BS. That's too much bullshit that you don't need to have. Hey, Charles is getting ready to play some Dragon Rampant. That's cool. I like the Rampant rules. I think that most of the Rampant rules are pretty good. I got Lion Rampant. and I think it works. I think it works really good. Okay, on a skirmish basis. Okay, so and for Dragon Rampant, that's like fantasy, right? And if it might work really well. Skirmish, fantasy, that all works really. Fantasy lends to skirmish really well, unless you're trying to do like armies, and in that case, you need rank and file rules, like maybe Oathmark. Okay, but back it up. We've got so I've decided to scratch the whole double roll, right? And because of that, I need a way to make it easier or harder to hit specific people, right? Like if you're behind a wall, it should be harder, obviously. If you're in the woods, it should be harder. Or if you're behind a hedge or in a building or whatever. Now, the way the Soldiers of Napoleon works is they subtract dice from the shooter. That works. I think that works just fine. That way you know how many dice each type of terrain or formation or whatever is for a negative, right? And then you go, okay, I start with 6 dice, but because he's behind a wall, I subtract 2 dice. Simple. I roll 4 dice. Boom. And you're looking for a target number. Now, the target number, which I already love from this, is not based on what you're trying to hit, right? Like I was thinking, it could go either way. It depends on how you want to do it. But I was modifying the target number with die rolls to make it more of a random thing. But this game sets a number specifically for the shooting unit based on their training experience, unit type, stuff like that. It works into every unit's got a shooting target number. So they have their own target number, which is probably 4 or better. Might be 5 or better. Like militia might have a 5 or better, regular troops might have a 4 or better, and elites or riflemen or something like that might have a 3 or better. I'm just throwing these numbers out there. But those are all rolled on a D6. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do a D10. Why a D10, Mr. Everything? Why not a D7 or a D8 or a D9? No, I'm doing a D10 because they're easily accessible. Everybody can get a D10. I've got like 500,000 D10. I can use this. Napoleon's Battles used D10, and I had a ton of D10 for that game specifically. But it gives you a larger variable, right? I get 10 different results, where a D6 you only get 6 results. Now if you base it on a percentile basis, each pip on a D10 is 10%, where each pip on a D6 is something like 16%. So what I'm saying is a +1 to the die roll on a D6 is a huge plus, where a +1 on a D10 is kind of a slight little advantage. It's not a huge plus. A +2 is not that much better than a +1 on a D6. It is better, but not that much better. So I'm going to do D10s. I've got to figure out where the target numbers fall into, right? Because see, if I make militia, like let's say a 7 or better, that's horrible, right? But let's say their target number is 7. But then I give my regular troops a 6 or better. That's not that big of a difference. It is better, but it's not like this huge swing, and that's what I don't want. I don't want a huge swing. So I'm going to go with D10s. I'm going to set target numbers based on every single unit that I make is going to, or every single unit type. Like all the Highlanders, they'll be the same. They'll probably be the same as the regular line infantry, except they might have better melee. You know, I don't know why they would, but maybe they do, right? And then maybe the French light will obviously be better shots than the French line, right? Right. Riflemen are going to be better shots than their line. Nassau might be better shots than Dutch-Belgian militia. You know, so I just got to figure out where everybody falls into. And that's something I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks is what are the modifiers to the D10? And it's usually going to be roll 1d10 per stand, right? And then the target number is based on the unit shooting. So right now the target has no effect on any of this. But cover is going to have a modifier to how many dice you get to roll. And then and formation will do the same. Because I think a square would be easier to hit than somebody deployed in skirmish. What do you think? Probably right. Okay, so skirmish might subtract 1 from the die. Now, it's not a die roll modifier, it's a dice modifier. Okay, so this is line, right? 6 dice. If I've got a large battalion, it's 8 dice. So I'm rolling 8 freaking dice. And then every one of those dice that meets that target number causes a wound to the other battalion. Now, these wounds, I'm not playing exactly from this set of rules, okay? But I do like these rules. There are some things about those rules that I definitely don't like, and I'll get into that when I do the review. But the shooting and the damage I kind of like in a way. Each battalion, what they're giving you is 1 hit point per stand, right? So you can put a marker on each stand, right? Or you can put 6 markers in the back, however you want to do it. When you equal, or I should say, when you exceed the value of the battalion, then it's destroyed, right? I might be getting some rules wrong. Remember, I said I only had it a couple of days ago, and I just read it. I feel that that's very quick. I like it because remember, I'm trying to get these games over with, right? So shoot, I do 6 casualties, boom, they're frickin' out of there. Or at least 7 maybe on this unit. But a large unit would be able to take 9 because 8 plus 1 extra would kill it. Each one of those hits, I think they call them disruption points. I think it's what they're calling them. And disruption, I don't know the rules. I don't understand the rules. So let me just finish reading those before I go in and speak out my ass, because I don't know exactly the rules yet. But I feel like it's maybe just a little bit too fast to destroy a unit. One thing I did like is they're not pulling figures off. You know, they're not saying, okay, these 4 guys are dead. What they're doing is they're saying you get hit, you take disruption points. You can mark the disruption points on the back, you know, or you can put them with casualty counters or whatever. And then once the battalion reaches a certain number of casualties, it breaks. Which my initial plan was to do a 50%. So this would be 12 figures. When it hit 12, it's gone. They're saying 25%, which is when you reach 1 per stand. I think I want to put it somewhere in between. maybe 10, maybe 8. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. 1 per stand makes it easy to do math, and I really like that. Now, a way that I can extend the game just a little bit without slowing the game down is maybe making the target numbers a little bit higher so that there's less like blowouts. So when I take my shot, I might get 1 or 2 casualties and not 6 at a time. You know, even though you could possibly roll, you know, with 6 bases, I could roll 6 casualties. What do you got, Charles? Okay, Fistful of Lead and Chainmail are ancient. I mean, we're talking 1970s. 60. I think Chainmail came out in the 60s. Before D&D. Okay. So, never actually played Chainmail. So that's the idea. That's the idea that I'm working with right now. Oh, this thing. Okay, another thing. It has a different method of tracking victory points. It has the same concept, which I love. It has the same concept that each army has a target number of victory points. The battle rating in a battle group is what they call. So if you get to a certain morale, victory point, battle rating, whatever you want to call it, when you reach a certain victory point, the game's over because you've defeated enough of the enemy troops. Got some dry mouth here. So if you've got an army, you lose a number, and they have this is part of the game I don't like is the way they determine it, but it's got some interesting ideas in it. I really like the chit counter, but I also think cards are better at drawing battle ratings instead of the chits. I think cards are better at that, but that's not what these are. These are more special events, like you draw this and something happens, and I don't like that. Not in a game. But I do like the fact that, like, I kill a unit, I draw a card, and that's how many victory points I just earned. The idea that they use, Kinraid uses, is each unit has a battle value, 1, 2, or 3, right? And based on that battle value, you roll a die on a chart, and then you cross-reference it with his battle value, and then that tells you how many victory points you just earned. And the bigger the battle value, which means the quality of the troop, basically, the better the quality of the troop, the more victory points you can earn for killing it. So that's a good idea, but I hate the fact that I've got to pull out another chart and roll another die. I think that's unnecessary, right? I think it just extends the game where it's not needed to be extended. So I might have +1 or -1 battle values. That way when you draw your card and it's got a number on it, you can add 1 or subtract 1. So maybe the cards will have 1, 2s, and 3s on them. And then when you draw a card, if you draw a 3 and this unit has a +1, you just got 4, right? So you just put it on the side, maybe put the unit on top of the card or something to let you know that that card was drawn because of that unit, something like that. And then you can figure it out when you're counting up your victory points that this unit is worth +1 and you just add 1. Or you could just have a running total of all the units that were killed, +1s and -1s, add all them up, and then look at the cards and then just apply that one single number to that, because it comes out exactly the same, however you want to do it. Or let's say you draw a 1 and it's a -1 unit, like it's Landwehr or something. Now you got a 0, which means it didn't matter if that unit was destroyed. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a very small battle rating, 1, 2, or 3, something like that. And then some of these units are going to be pluses and minuses. Most of them are going to be zeros, right? Because that's standard line unit is going to be a +0, but like Imperial Guard might be +1. Landwehr might be a -1. That's probably where I'm going to go with that. Okay, which I also kind of like that each unit leader has different abilities, like brigade commander, division commander, corps commander, and army general, which is exactly the way I'm doing my armies. Each one has a different reason for being on the battlefield. I got to figure out what those reasons are, but I like the fact that they give them. It's giving me ideas to gestate. I like the fact that brigades are not broken, so you don't break. Like, let's say this brigade had 4 battalions, and you break 2 of them. The entire brigade is not shaken, you know, and can't advance and attack or do anything, has to retreat off the table. They don't do that, and I appreciate that, because that's like one of the most frustrating things as a commander, when you only got like 4 battalions in a brigade and 2 of them move up to attack, and then they get broken, not even routed, they just get broken. Now your whole unit is broken. I don't like that. Neither does Kinraid. He says that every battalion is its own battalion. It either becomes broken or routed or whatever, but it doesn't affect the other battalions unless it's destroyed. And if it's destroyed, it might affect people in the area that see it being destroyed, but it doesn't. It's not an automatic thing, where if I lose 2 battalions out of a 4, the other 2 battalions can still continue on an attack. I like that. I really like that a lot. Okay, talking about formations. If you were in a attack column, which is 2 bases wide, you only get 2 dice on the attack. I thought that was a good idea. And then he's allowing, and I don't know if I'm going to allow, but he allows, if you're in march column, the front company can still fire, so you still get 1 die. I don't think I'm going to allow that, because that means 2 march columns side by side get the same number of dice as an attack column, and I don't think that's right. So I still think a march column should get 0 dice. It should be for movement only. I'm going to have to see how he does square. And I also don't really know anything about the melee. I skipped over the melee section, so let's not worry about that. Ranges. Okay. Everything in this game is done in paces, which you basically just have to know how big a pace is, and then you do the math, which for 15 millimeter, a pace is 1/2 inch, which that works for me because his muskets shoot 10 paces. So in my game, that would be 5 inches, right? Where in 15 millimeter, that would be 5 inches. Well, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to make it super complicated like that. I was thinking 6 inches, just to make it easy, half a foot, 6 inches. And then rifles do half again that. So they would do 9 inches. So 6 and 9. But 5 and what would it be? 7.5? See, now you're starting to throw me off. I don't think I want to do 5 and 7.5. I think I want to do 6 and 9. Round it off, make it simple. Yeah. His artillery is shooting something like, which I'm actually surprised that there's a lot of historical reference in here. Okay, and movement is done in paces, so you just have to know how big a pace is. Here we go, range, muskets, 10 paces, which would be 5 inches. Rifles, 15. What is that? That's half again as many, so 7.5. And then let's take a 12-pounder. 50 paces. What is that, 25 inches? And then canister is 15 paces, which half would be 7.5. I want to try to avoid any half measurements. Oh, and then they show something here, here and here. And this is a really good clarification for battle group as well, because he considers this to be 90 degrees, right? Which it is. It's a full 90 degrees to the front. And this to be considered 45 degrees, which is like that. In battle group, there are anti-tank guns and certain like mortars that can only shoot 90 degrees. Now, I was thinking it was 90 degrees with straight out the side to the front being 90 degrees. But no, it's if you take that arc and you point it more to the front. And then same thing with 45. It's not 45 to the left, 45 to the right. It's a total of 45. And it looks like he's got a great way of measuring angles from the back of the base to the front of the base, a straight line. I like that idea. That way there's no tool that you need. All you need to do is just take a measurement from the back to the front of the base. And everybody in the world can eyeball a 90-degree arc. Yeah, so I don't have an artillery piece here. If I did, it would be approximately that big, right? It would be 30 by 40, and then you would go from the back corner to the front corner. Like that would be the arc. I think that's a good arc. I think that works perfect. And then the other arc would be, yeah, like that. I think that's a good way to do artillery. I was probably going to do that anyway. And infantry just shoots out at a 45. What are some other things? Oh, the way they do limbered and unlimbered. So imagine these are two guns side by side, right? And you got your front arcs or whatever. When you go to limber up, you take your limber and use just one of the guns. I was thinking I was going to put both guns behind and do a long limber like that, but I'm going to have to determine if that's too long pace-wise. It might be too long pace-wise, and if it is, then just put him off to the side. But I hate doing that. I hate taking figures from the table, putting it into no man's land, and then bringing it back to the table. I hate doing that, so I might just do it like that. Yeah, he's got activation cards, which basically you get like one card per brigade, and then you draw cards, or you have to use cards to perform special actions and stuff like that. I don't want to have to do any of that. I want to just roll a die, get a number of orders, issue the orders. That's what I want to do. All right, guys, let me finish reading these rules and figuring out some of the good things, some of the bad things. Let me go ahead and finish painting my NASA guys, so maybe tonight I'll have them ready. But look forward to an update on all my figures, all the buildings, all the terrain, where the rules stand and everything. Tonight I'm going to film a video specifically for that. All right, and so it should be out by tomorrow. And that's all I wanted to say today. I didn't want to make this video too long. Remember, I'm going to take some photos of my 15s to put on the splash screen at the very beginning that right now is only showing 28mm models, World War II tanks, and fantasy. It doesn't have any 15s on there at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pictures of 15s, and I'm going to make a new splash screen, and it's going to say Wargaming Weekly.